We're back with more, talking about the NFL, because the owners have this wonderful idea of expanding the regular season to 17 games and also adding another team to the postseason. So you're going to have 7 teams now instead of 6, with only one team getting a bye, which is interesting. But let's tackle the first part of it first. Jeff Hawthorne's 17-game schedule. If you're the players, what do you do with this, and why vote now? I've always maintained there's no rush in this. They have a year left before they do.
Well, I know the owners want to get this done, so maybe their leverage is now. But no, I wouldn't vote now. They want 17 games. That's the big chip you have in this game. Play that chip, and for the 17 games.
To what end, Jeff?
I would play it out.
To get what?
Because the owners really want this 17
Yeah, but to get
game.
what? More money? More
Well, they
weed?
want the benefits. They want
Okay.
the lifetime benefits. And I think the veterans want that. The problem is there are different guys that want different things. And if this goes to the vote of the players, as it is now, you think about all those guys. There's 2 extra jobs. They're going to no more weed check or weed suspensions for these guys. I think they've done a good job of getting probably a good majority of younger, inexperienced guys that would probably vote for it as is.
I mean, they should want more money. They should want as close to a 50-50 split of the revenue as they can possibly get. They should probably want a relaxation or an outright abolishment of the draconian weed rules that the NFL has in place now, which are absolutely maintained for one reason and one reason only, and that's as a bargaining chip by the NFL. But anything in general that gets brought out and pushed forth through the NFL's sort of official and unofficial media leak guys from the owners, that's not something you want to sign. Absolutely not. There's a ton of time left. It was a total PR blitz by the NFL. No, the players should go back and play hardball here. This is ridiculous. The idea that, oh, it's out there, come on, sign. No, don't do that.
Well, Bob, you could sign me up for 6 games wild card weekend and the 7-team playoff. I'm a proponent of that.
I like it too.
I'm also, it's a very imperfect system. I don't know how they figure out the 17th game, but I'd love to see the Steelers play the Eagles every year, as crazy as that might sound. Neutral site or home and home. I'd like to establish a rivalry with that garbage team on the other side of the state.
And I'm with you for the playoffs, but what doesn't make sense about this 17th game is, let's say, at least to start, there's 9 and 8. Well, if you have a big home field advantage and you win that extra game, and that gets you either leverage in the postseason or into the postseason,
I think they're going to make one of those.
Teams?
I think they're going to make one a neutral site.
But can they do that for every team?
Well, I don't know.
I've heard, Chris, some people talk about, the players I'm talking about, who would like to see what other sports have, that is totally guaranteed contracts, which I never think you're going to see in the NFL.
I mean, I'd love to see it in the NFL because I'm always on the side
What would
of
it
the
take
players
to get it, though? What would it take to get it?
I think a 2-year strike, probably, at least.
Wow.
I'm serious. I mean, we talked about how Jeff said and brought up the idea that the players have a lot of different interests. There's a lot of different factions there. Well, when you're dealing with the owners, it's 32 guys or whatever female owners are in the league who want to, bottom line, get the same thing, which is a ton of money. So getting 32 people to agree on something is a lot easier than getting several hundred. As far as the playoffs, by the way, go, and I might be in the minority, and you can both, all 3 of you can actually get off my lawn on this. It's fine at 6 teams. The schedule's fine at 16 games. When are we going to stop giving in to the NFL just wanting to take more and more and more and
because
more?
It's entertaining.
Who cares? Yeah. It's entertaining now.
I like entertainment.
So you need imagine well, for Andrew Filipponi, Bob Pompeani, and Jeff Hawthorne, thank God we've got those 2 extra wild card games.
Can you imagine wild card weekend with 6 games?
Yes, I can. It's going to be the same as it always is, but it doesn't need to be changed because it's fine now.
And Andrew, let's be real. They're just trying to get enough teams in so the Browns can finally get into the postseason.
There you go, with those 157 pounds of marijuana. Now it's time to go around the horn for this week's Smooth Moves, brought to you by Pittsburgh's largest supplier of the smoothest granite, marble, and quartz countertops you're going to find anywhere. That would be Armina's Stone. So, Smooth Moves. What you guys got?
Yeah, Bob, I think the 42-year-old who went in and played for the Hurricanes.
David Ayers, a legend.
Yeah,
in his own.
I think the Maple Leafs should fire him. I mean, to me, all-time Benedict Arnold. What a treasonous move. I'll tell you what, if I went in and pitched against the Mets, you better believe I'm serving up home runs. Or if I'm playing first base, I'm dropping every ball, Bob. Come on.
Maybe he tried, but Toronto was inept.
No. He faced 7 shots in the 3rd period.
That's it. That's what I mean. Toronto was inept.
By the Hurricanes marketing team to get Ayers jerseys out there for sale because they're caught.
Got a standing ovation from Toronto fans,
cool.
Andrew.
Not a true fan.
All right.
Mine is, and I don't like the guy. I think he cheated the game earlier. But Patrick Reed, at least it's an American golfer that has some guts.
Cojones?
Yeah, unlike a lot of them in these international competitions who just wilt because they're little mama's boys, Patrick Reed is a legit gutsy golfer, so he's
I don't
my
know if you
smooth
want to
move.
use the word legit when you're talking about Patrick Reed, seeing as, he like builds sandcastles before his shots.
Oh, just with his club.
Well, yeah, that's not illegal or anything. My smooth move goes to Tyson Fury, who thoroughly dominated Deontay Wilder, who, as I saw somebody say on Twitter, has TNT in his right hand and not a whole lot else. Fury just absolutely humiliated him in the fight. It was complete outclassing in that rematch. And he also said beforehand that he wanted to taste blood in the fight, which is why when he was completely dominating, he did the creepiest yet funniest licking of Wilder's shoulder, I guess.
Yeah.
Or pantomiming that. It's weird, but it's smooth when you're dominating a fight that much that you can clown around in the clinch.
At least he didn't bite his ear off like Tyson did.
Bob, he's trying to get on True Blood with Manganiello, I think.
Very good.
He
He
wants a
loves
vampire.
He loves
audition.
American Pie, what makes him great.
Those are the smooth moves brought to you by Armina Stone, which is Pittsburgh's largest supplier of the smoothest granite, marble, and quartz countertops you're going to find everywhere. Score a touchdown now with Armina Stone. We'll be back talking about Ben Roethlisberger next.